Anything you nurture would grow. Even if it's a bad idea, if you nurture it, it would grow.
Oftentimes, you got so much in your head, you're scared. Do I say this? How do I say it? Because oftentimes you realize it's not what you said.
It's how.
It's how you said it.
The absence of words does not mean the absence of love or care. He's not saying so much does not mean he does not care. Yes, a lot of wives still have some growing up to do in marriage.
What's your philosophy on life?
Philosophy. I don't do philosophies. I do the word of God.
Thanks so much for joining us on this podcast. It's been an honor having you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. First, to get us started, you started Complete Woman Initiative. What inspired the idea behind it, and how has this evolved over time?
So the Complete Woman Initiative, how did it all start? I would say from my second year in the university. I've always had great passion for women, I guess because of my perspective on life. I lost my mom when she was quite young, and before she passed, I saw how capable she was of so many things, but she wasn't able to live out those dreams, and I'm not ready to share too deep into the circumstances surrounding that. But she had so much potential, but before she passed, I did not see her live out those dreams, and I guess it's inspired me to also be able to help other women grow and just live out their potential, like die empty. God has given us so much. And I think that as human beings, generally speaking now, we underestimate how much we have on our inside. And we're not able to do so much with our lives. And then we end up having so much regret and wishing, oh, if I could, I would go back in time. So I think that's how I obviously, by the help of God, was able to birth Complete Woman. I'm just ensuring that every woman knows that with God on your side, there's no limit to what you can achieve. That's the starting point of what Complete Woman stands for. And I think that also for me, knowing that I'm capable of so much, I don't want to grow alone. I want to grow with other women and just see us all thrive together. And obviously, it's God-centered. It's not just a social platform. It's centered around God helping us be everything He says we can be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You talked about the reason for starting this. Do you believe you're the right person to do this, or could have been started by somebody else?
Anybody could be running Complete Woman.
So why did you start it?
I think it's just having convictions and letting your convictions be the driving force. Nobody would have brought out a cane to flog me and say, if you don't get this done, it wouldn't be done. God can raise stones. God can raise anyone to do what I'm doing. And in fact, generally around the world, there's many other platforms very similar to Complete Woman. But God is able to raise people in different places at different times to do what He would have them do. So to answer your question, it doesn't have to be me. It did not have to be me. But I guess I had that strong conviction to do it. And God has just helped me, giving me the grace to say yes and get it done.
What's the most surprising outcome you've had or you've experienced this past couple of years you've done the Complete Woman?
That's a very good question, and I would say it's been the response from people. People have been very supportive. When it all began in 2020, and I made a few phone calls to close friends who I didn't think I had convictions to reach out to partner with me and get this done. They were very supportive, and the response was unexpected. I was worried I would get a lot of turn downs and no's. I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested. But everybody was very supportive. And I think that the last event we had, the outcome was very encouraging. That has been the biggest. I'm like, oh, wow. People are actually starting to pay attention to what I'm doing. And I believe that anything you nurture would grow. Even if it's a bad idea, if you nurture it, it would grow. If it's something that would derail people, if you nurture it, it will grow. Everything that you nurture grows. It's a principle of life. So I've been able to nurture this initiative so much that it's impressive to see how we're growing. We were not here 4 years ago, but somehow we have a bigger and stronger community.
The question I'll be having after then would be something that just came to mind. Why now? Why not in a couple of years' time, or why not a few years back? Because the same issue, I guess, you're probably addressing today has always been there and will always be there. Why did you think it was the right time to jump onto it?
I'm a strong believer that there's never a perfect time. If you keep pushing things forward and say, when I'm a bit more settled, when my kids are older, when I have more money, when I start my own business, there would always be excuses. But once you have that conviction again that this is something you should be doing, yes, weigh your options, but stop looking for a perfect time. For me, I tend to always have so much happening at the same time. So if I were to keep postponing or pushing this forward, I would never find a perfect time. And something I always tell my close friends is tomorrow is not promised. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. So if you have any opportunity to start something now, just do it. Do it afraid. Whether it fails, whether it will succeed, you do not know. But the only way to actually know is to start doing it. If it doesn't work out, nobody would, again, flog you or say, how dare you try something you know will not work out. Many legends that we know now started from somewhere, started small and, nurtured their visions and saw it grow. So for me, it wasn't a case of a perfect timing. It was a case of, I have this conviction, I'm going to get it done. And that's how I operate in most cases.
Who is a complete woman?
On the perspective of what I stand for, a complete woman is one who knows her identity in Christ. Many women have perceived limitations. Many women know that there's things that are strong enough to hold them down or hinder them from progressing. But from the standpoint of a child of God, a complete woman is one with whom God sees complete. So your limitations, your mistakes, your poor choices, your bad decisions don't define you. As far as you're that woman Christ has died for, there's nothing limiting you. There's nothing missing about you. There's nothing broken about you. It's our strong conviction that a complete woman is one that has everything she needs to be who God says she is.
Does it have to be within the confines of Christianity or religion?
Not necessarily.
So can a complete woman not be a Christian, not be born again?
Yes, because the complete woman is a child of God. But the caveat there would be, do women who are not in Christ have a knowledge of their identity? God sees every woman complete. So now the onus is on that woman to know who God says she is. Where there's no knowledge of your identity, then it's lost. It's lost. That identity is lost. So you don't know that you are actually complete until you have knowledge of who God says you are.
But there are people, I would think, our perception of completeness might be depending on who you're asking, I guess. But I guess what I wanted to find out is, if I'm not in Christ, does that mean I am not complete? Even though I claim to know who I am fulfilling, in quote, purpose. Does that mean I'm not complete, or I'm just delusional?
Not delusional. Since we're really gearing towards the Word of God, right? Scripture says that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So point blank, to answer your question, a person who hasn't accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior does not know the identity. So it would seem that everything else is working right for you. You are thriving, you are crashing glass ceilings, you're excelling. But when there's the absence of what Christ has done for you, you are missing out. There's a vacuum there that is yet to be filled out. And if it's not filled up, there is still no clear identity of who you are.
So point blank.
So I'm being very careful of how I state this, but summarily, to know who you truly are is to know Jesus. That's my answer.
Cool. What are the common myths about women that you think hasn't been debunked yet?
That there would always be limitations. That you can't have it all is a very big misconception. That's it for me. For women, there's that perception that there will always be limitations, that you can't have it all. That you have to...
Isn't that contextual? So nobody can have it all.
Why do you think you can have it all? So from the point of view of having visions for your life, things
Okay.
you hope to achieve. I believe that God has created us to be very multidimensional. You are not born to do just one thing. And from the standpoint of women who wear so many hats, naturally can be overwhelming. So you are wired to be a mother, wired to be a wife, wired to be a friend, a sister, wired to have a job, wired to have a business, wired to keep the home running, wired to be a homemaker. It can be a lot.
Every startup needs early supporters. For us, that is you. Hitting that subscribe button is the easiest, totally free way to help us attain our goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers in the next 4 months. Now, in return, I promise to bring you the people, the tools, the insights, and mindset you need to level up as a CEO. No fluff, just real stuff you can use. Now, hit that subscribe button. Let's grow together.
It would be a case of understanding your seasons. Having it all doesn't mean it all has to happen at once. If I would speak for myself, I'm doing well in ticking the boxes I want to tick in terms of having it all. They haven't come at the same time, most definitely. But I thank God that very early in my life, I had a clear vision of the things I wanted to attain, where I wanted to be in life, things I wanted to do. I'm not there yet. I'm not doing everything just yet. But I'm mindful of the fact that life comes in seasons. There were seasons where I was a young mom raising young children, and it was impossible to even leave my house. You can bear witness to that there were times I'd have to turn down invites to events or do certain things because there was a season I was focusing on. But I've moved on from that now. I'm growing in my career. I'm paying more attention to ministry. I'm paying more attention to my business. I'm able to do much more now. Even where I am in terms of like where I'm living and what I'm doing with my family, it's all seasonal. So I think that you can have it all, but be mindful that it's not supposed to happen at the same time. So when you feel like you're experiencing a delay in your life, I think it's important for women to focus on what should I be paying the most attention to right now. Some things might be in the back burner, doesn't mean that they are abandoned, So just learning to take one day at a time, and most importantly, having a clear understanding of what you want to achieve. With the right resources, the right support system is so key. To have the right support system, it is possible to have everything that you want. When I say having it all, it is not materialistic. I don't mean have mansions, real estate, and cars. No, it's more about purpose, having it all in terms of fulfilling your purpose in life, the things that you want to do. At some point, I was doing YouTube and it thrived, and I've had to stop that now, another season in my life. But I also know that for the period I was doing YouTube, I had great feedback on how the videos were a blessing, gave out the right information, was a useful resource for so many people. At the time I was doing that, I believe it has gone out to fulfill its purpose for the period I was doing it. Now that I've paused, doesn't mean I have failed. Do you understand? I just have to focus on other things now. People who have the right support system and have sufficient help can do a few things at the same time. That is their journey. So also understanding your journey, your season, and how that comparing yourself to anybody, to any other woman, is literally stealing your joy. So understand your journey, understand your seasons, and you can actually have it all. Yeah.
Is there a common denominator amongst, you've had quite a serious conversation with ladies, right? So this is in relation to having a dog, the common mates, as well as surprising outcomes. Is there like a common denominator amongst all of this? People have shared with you experiences, in their life about, pursuing career, pursuing business, pursuing ministry, family, and things like, for one reason or the other, they feel there is something limiting them. Now, there must be a reason why they think so. All right. Now, if you're able to tie each of these together, what could you say that reason might be?
There's a couple of factors that can slow a woman down, if that's your question. And going off my conversations with a couple of women, I would think it's the role of being a mother and a wife. A mother in terms of raising young children in this environment it might be different for women in my home country, Nigeria, where help is easily accessible compared to here. So speaking for women in Australia where I live, the common factor that might slow women down would be the role of nurturing your children and also marriage. And when I say that, I mean that there are times where because of your spouse, you have to hold off on a few things. And it can be vice versa, it's not limited to just the woman having to hold off things. Sometimes it might have to be the man pushing things out so his wife can pursue her career. But for the most part, I find that marriage can be a factor that might slow you down because you have to think about, again, your spouse and your children and their needs. Placing their needs above yours can be a factor, but it just brings me back to the point about seasons. Even if it's a common factor amongst women, it's not the end, right? Yeah. It's understanding seasons. It's a very important factor for women.
What's your philosophy on life?
Philosophy? I don't do philosophies. I do the Word of God. Okay. Yeah.
So rephrase it the way you like to hear it.
Yeah.
Life, business. And family. So let's take life as into business and family.
My perspective on life is what I would. Yeah. I feel like what holds there for me is the fact that human beings don't harness their potential as much as I would like to see. And I believe that when we start to really take bold steps in harnessing our God-given gifts, there's no limits to what we can achieve. That's my outlook on life, right? Like there's nothing we cannot achieve with the right resources, with the right information and the right support system.
I was watching this podcast. I'm a big fan of Steve Bartlett. He was talking about, he was having a chat with this guy that wrote Psychology of Money. It's a book I'm reading actually. I was talking about what the difference between us and the place we want to go to. It's 5 people. It's only just about that standing between us and what we want to be, either financially or whatever. So if you want to get help, by the time you ask 5 people, you'd have gotten the help you need. So that for me meant a lot. It meant probably we're not asking enough. So sometimes we think, I can't get it, or I need this, I can't afford it, and so we just let it slide, or we start pondering in our head how to do it ourselves.
Sometimes we overthink things. Even before we take action, we've already
seen all these possibilities.
Exactly right. So having a more optimistic outlook on life, and I think not being too careful, not being too afraid to approach people for help, because there's also that factor of human relationships. We don't love each other enough. We don't trust ourselves enough. There's a lot of factors. If we start to delve into relationships, it's way too complex. People don't. Let's just love, right? I feel like when you love your fellow man, you are helping them climb the ladder. How do you love when
you've been disappointed quite a few times and you've had to go through? We talked about this. We're in the same church, right? In the school, where you've gone through a series of issues with people and then you're still meant to love these people. How do you forgive and forget?
So this is a bit personal. And my dear husband, just forgive me. I can't help but share examples. What I find, Emmanuel, is that love requires resilience. You have to be a resilient person to love. Especially when you've experienced disappointments and heartbreaks, it takes a person who is resilient to try again. Loving is a sacrifice, right? And if we think about our role model, my role model, Jesus Christ, having been hurt, betrayed, and all of that, still made it to the cross and gave his life for us. There's a joke in my house where my husband always says that when he grows up, he wants to be like me, because I've had my fair share of heartbreaks, my fair share of disappointments, but I don't know how not to love. Like, I don't know how else to operate. And I think that
every startup needs early supporters. For us, that is you. Hitting that subscribe button is the easiest, totally free way to help us attain our goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers in the next 4 months. Now, in return, I promise to bring you the people, the tools, the insights and mindset you need to level up as a CEO. No fluff, just real stuff you can use. Now, hit that subscribe button. Let's grow together.
Aside attributing that to being resilient, I also just think it's also being very attuned with the life of God that you carry. I'm very God-centered. I'm very spiritual. I don't know how to separate myself from it. And I'm glad that I can't separate myself from it. But my ability to love comes from a place of understanding what Christ has done. And it has made me resilient in my approach to loving people. So I'm not the once beaten, twice shy person. People have hurt me over and over and over again. And I still keep letting people hurt me. But I find that sometimes the people who hurt you don't always do it on purpose. So there's the factor of communicating, being transparent, and just, again, loving. Because these same people who have hurt me have at some point been a blessing to me. So I don't believe in just closing the door or burning bridges. That's a very fancy phrase people use now. I will burn the bridge once you mess up. No. If that was Christ's approach, we wouldn't be here today having this discussion. So let's not be quick to burn bridges. Let's not be quick to close the doors because we've been disappointed. Yes, it's so important to guard your hearts. Yes, please create boundaries. I'm speaking for myself and my experience with being hurt. I still have everybody who has hurt me in my life to a certain degree. Now there have been lines drawn, boundaries have been created. But when it comes to loving, I would probably still go all out for them. I'll probably still do the same things I did before.
Is that
in the
love
past.
or something else?
To me, it is love. I don't know what you think it is. I don't know how you've interpreted it, but to me, it is love.
Do you love to a certain degree? So love, in my understanding, is love. Just like we define selfishness and selfishness, not positive about being selfish. So I see love as love, as is, like unconditional, not with limits. You understand? Of course, if I then start putting limits to it or to degrees or to it, then that in itself might not be the word love. It could be any other thing, perhaps not love. I guess we can debate that.
Maybe not debate it.
Because love is love. I don't know if love. The word love is unconditional. It's without boundaries. It is without limitations. You understand?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Very valid point. And if we even go on to read what scripture defines as love, it's all of these things you're saying, not selfish, not all of that. But then it is still love in the context, I mean, is if this person who has hurt me still needs my help, I can be there for them. But again, we're human, right? But not creating that open avenue for them to further ruin what has been ruined. Do you understand? So I'm still able to pray for them. I'm still able to hug them. I'm still able to see their child and help them when necessary. That is love. But from the angle of a human being, where I need to protect certain areas of my life because of past experiences, I should. Because this same scripture that explains that love is not with boundaries, is not selfish, also says to guard your heart with all diligence. Out of it flows the issues of life, right? So thinking about my life and guarding my heart, to protect me, boundaries are also important. Scripture also confirms it. So, yeah.
What is the biggest misconception about gender?
Ooh.
Gender roles in modern family and society?
The biggest misconception will be that there are defined tasks. Yeah, that's it for me. Defined task. There's no such thing. Shouldn't be. Not in this age and time.
In Australia or globally? Or
Globally.
Where we come from?
Wherever. There's no defined task. And if I would go on to buttress, marriage is oneness. You become one. And that's how God has orchestrated it, right? That's God's vision for marriage. So going back to the days of your olden days or whenever with our parents and their generation, they somehow, I don't think it was planned out, but they just somehow found themselves having defined task. This is what the man is to be doing. This is what the woman is to be doing. Now, I know that God has naturally wired women to be nurturers. So we might be better at certain things, and the men are wired to be strong. Like we see how Adam was the stronger version of Eve, and she had a more subtle frame, even just physically. Doesn't necessarily mean that the man can't do what the woman does, and doesn't also mean that the woman can't do what the man does. I don't believe that marriages should have defined tasks. We might be naturally wired to do some things better. Doesn't mean we can't do everything together and do everything that needs to be done to make marriage work, to make your family function in a very easy manner.
Going back, we talked about our parents and parenting for them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my view, all right? Not my view, just something for us to discuss. Life has obviously evolved from when they lived their life up until now, and this will keep changing. But of course, that has also come with certain decays in society with this evolution and things like that. If we had gone back to the years they lived, did you think all of this decay? So not so much about gender roles, but how they lived their life. Of course, how the man lived and how the woman lived, how certain tasks were, this for the guys and this for the ladies. But most importantly as well, how they were able to manage their relationships.
The home front.
All right. The woman knows this is my responsibility. Yeah, the man could do it, or if he could do it, but I would do this much better. I will raise the children better than the guy will raise the child. And so I'm taking charge of this. And the man, yes, I will go out and I'll till the ground because I know I'm best at this. And then we'll define our roles based on this.
Something I always say is in marriage, it's important to know what works for you and stick to it. But I also find that now in this generation, people are a lot more vocal about what their experiences are. So we have so many podcasts talking about marriage and relationships, and you actually hear women voice out their struggles. So we know where there's a problem sometimes. But going back to our parents, they didn't have the chance to be as vocal. So it's hard to say what their experiences were. They may have been masking their struggles really well. I don't know. My mom, for example, I don't think she had a chance to express her struggles because people already had they already had their notions about marriage that, this is your duty, stay in the kitchen. So if she was struggling, I don't think she had the chance to express it so much. So we may think that those marriages worked out well and everything looked okay. Okay, the man does this, till the ground. The woman does this, care for the children, do the dishes and do all those house things. If they were struggling, I don't know how much of it we are actually aware of. But the little I know, many women struggled back then and there was no outlets. There was no opportunity to really express what their struggles were. And even the ones that even experienced things as bad as domestic violence were not able to voice it out so much. That's the difference that we enjoy now. There's more awareness. Because there's more awareness, there's more education. And you find that also because we are in times where people are relocating, starting afresh, lots of immigrants everywhere, it's just not logical and it's also not realistic to have defined tasks. Because you have homes where it's both the mom and dad waking up early to do odd jobs sometimes. They're both trying to make ends meet. So delegating that you are the woman, this is what you do. You are the man, this is what you do. Doesn't work well. Doesn't work very well anymore.
I do think these roles are not really delegated.
Yeah, okay.
So this is me, all right? Like you said, every family will look at what works for them and naturally will do it. Of course, we're becoming a lot more vocal in today's world where everybody's complaining. We've got internet, we've got microphone, and so let's talk.
Yeah.
But societally, and I think in homes as well, or at least for my own home, I know the things I can do very well, and I've just taken those on. You don't need to ask me to do it. All right? And the missus knows pretty much what she can do very well. And she doesn't need to be told this way. And you just do it. And I do see that as, what's the right word now? I don't want to sound Funny.
I hear
Yeah.
you, and I guess that's what happens in most homes. But and I already mentioned that you might have the ability to do things, a few things, and it just comes to you naturally, no struggles, and you know that okay, this is what you should focus on. But when I say there should be no defined task, you would agree that even though there are certain things you know how to do well,
Yeah.
there'll be times where you jump in and help your wife,
Yep.
right? Exactly. So there'll be times even my husband, who is great at admin, if it's just replying one email, I have jumped into his role. He knows how to do it well, but sometimes he will need the extra help. But just, I think that what matters most is just bouncing off each other, and iron sharpeneth iron, right? So there'll be times where even though this is what I'm good at doing, she needs me now, I'll step in and help her. She's tired, had a long night, she can't do lunch boxes today, I'll get them done. Oh, my husband is really tired, the car is not clean, I'll grab the vacuum and clean the car. So
That's very right up.
sorry,
That's very funny.
it happens very often in fact, I love cleaning cars, and I think it's how my parents brought me up. My dad
Okay.
was everybody gets stuff done. I washed cars inside and outside, like I know how to wash a car. And
Your husband is lucky.
yeah, I know how to wash it, and I still do it. The car might be very messy. I grab a brush, grab a broom, and I get it done. So in my home, there's no defined task, and that's what works for us. I do certain things, and it comes naturally for me. But every now and then, he bounces in and helps me, and I try to. Maybe not. I might not even do it as well as he does it, but I just think that the mindset of oneness is so key in marriages, and if there's that oneness, you wouldn't say, okay, this is me, this is her. We have to do everything together. It's what makes marriage even more joyful sometimes.
Just stepping a bit further, what role do you think men can play in helping define what it means to be a complete woman?
That's so good. That's a really good question. And it makes me think about how easy women are. Men think that we are complicated. We are actually not.
Debatable,
But yeah, we'll get there. And I see why it's debatable. For the woman, I would say it's so good to know how to communicate. And when I say how to communicate, I don't mean grumble. Grumble is a form of communication. For a healthy marriage, we have to put aside grumbling and complaining. Every now and then we might be overwhelmed and tend to want to grumble when things aren't working out the way we want them to. But learning effective communication in marriage is such a lifesaver for you and for your marriage, right? So to answer your question, how the man can step in to help a woman be complete as God says she is to learn the ways of a woman. There's a book, what's the title? I think it's Miles Monroe, that talks about helping men understand women. So women, we thrive off communication so much. And I say this because I have a number of women in my life, right? Just communicating when, how she wants it is the biggest way a man can help a woman. And also bearing in mind how the amount of change that women experience, mostly when we talk about having children and increasing the family, so that way there's more responsibilities. Her body's changing, her mind is tired, she's overwhelmed. Being able to say, baby, what do you need at this time, helps her to relax. And when you ask her things like that, she would communicate, she would talk. Are you able to actually listen and not be like, okay, get to the point. What exactly do you want? Women can go off on a tangent sometimes, and that's the best way we communicate. It's the way we're wired to communicate. We express through communication. So listen to your woman, like actually listen. And your listening is evidence in how you respond. So if she's expressing that I'm struggling at work, I have to also get this done, the child needs to get her vaccine, and all these things are going through her mind, because we tend to bottle up a lot in our little head sometimes. But when the man listens and responds how she wants the response, you are helping her thrive, right? If she shares her visions with you, but you can see her current reality where there's young children, She wants to do an MBA. There's really no time for it to happen there and then. Encourage her. It's just a season, darling. Let's focus on when the child is 3, then we can look into your MBA again. Or you want to start this business. What do you need? If she tells you, okay, help me draw up a budget, help me with the Excel file, things like that. Being present is how you help a woman thrive. Being present, and it's mostly, it would still revolve around communication. The only way you can be present, both physically, emotionally, is through communication. And I think it's a really big factor that husbands need to learn. Listen actively, respond intentionally. Don't just be like, oh, okay, you got this. Yeah, right. She already knows she got this, but she wants you to say a bit more like, babe, since I met you, you've always been able to handle difficult times really well. Like, the influence you have on your wife is probably the biggest ever. And I think men don't know that. If she hears, oh, you're capable outside, it might not mean so much to her, right? But if she hears it from her man that, babe, you are capable, the ginger is next level. She thinks she can fly when it's the man saying it, because you have the biggest influence on your woman. So be her biggest cheerleader. Help her bring her vision to reality. And it all starts with communication.
I do think that is the biggest undoing of the male man. And I do think, of course, communication. A lot of the time, that's really it can really make or mar, of course, homes and families. But then again, in communicating, seeing that as one of the biggest undoing of the male man, I do think oftentimes for the lady, because this guy hasn't communicated just enough, it's I'm looking for the best way to put it, because I've got a lady in front of me.
No, feel free.
No. So essentially what I'm trying to say is, going back a bit. Now, for the male guy, communication is a problem. I do have that kind of problem. All right. Oftentimes, you got so much in your head, you're scared. Do I say this? How do I say it? Because oftentimes you realize it's not what you said.
It's how
you said it. And when you're saying it, it's not how you're saying it. You're just saying it as it's coming. But then you saying it is being misinterpreted to mean this other thing. And for, in most cases, you probably not hear the guy talk. You just, no problem, I've heard you. And just this small stuff. Furthermore, still on that topic, I do also think that has made a lot of guys bottle up a whole lot of things and inhibits the ability to communicate effectively.
I hear you.
To the lady, as well as, I'll skip that part.
I hear you, even what you're not willing to say.
Yeah.
And that's where, see, I'm not just going to speak for the man. I can also speak to the women. Because, let me brag on being married for 11 plus years, and I've had a lot of learning and unlearning myself. So, yes, a lot of wives, a lot of mothers still have some growing up to do in marriage, right? And I think there comes a point in your marriage where you should have learned to understand your husband, right? So the absence of words does not mean the absence of love or care. That's something I find a lot of women still need to understand and really get it, right? So he's not saying so much does not mean he does not care. So also in speaking to our husbands, it's important to also understand time, place, what's happening right now. Is he just back from work? Is he also trying to unwind from a very busy day? Again, communication is great. Something as simple as, babe, are you in the mood to talk? Would you talk to me and be in it? And if you say, can we, I'm tired now, let's come back. She should not be angry. She should be like, okay, so 30 minutes, is that fine? Talk, just be G's, be friends, talk, Right now, I've learned that when my husband is doing certain things, it's not the best time to go and communicate with him. Look for when he's chilling, he's not busy, and then you can have a conversation. The more women understand their husbands and the more husbands understand their wives, marriage is actually really pleasant. So even as the man is learning to help the woman, the woman should also not apportion blames and say things like he doesn't communicate, he's not there for me, doesn't care so much. Know your man, right? Knowing your man through and through just saves you a lot of stress, I believe. Yeah.
What role does self-care play in redefining success for women?
Self-care. Self-care is a big one. And I'm being very careful to say what's on my mind, but I find that also understanding seasons is also part of it. There'll be times in your marriage where you are not able to give yourself as much love as you deserve. Being a woman ordinarily, even with or without children, is sacrificial. Like, we're just wired to give our time, give our emotions to people, to those that we love. So if I would start from women who are married, currently raising children, currently have a busy life, take it easy on yourself. If you're not getting the attention and the love, and you're not going away on vacations and things like that right now, it's in seasons, it will come. But in whatever season you're experiencing, let self-care be peculiar to you, not what the world thinks self-care is, right? For women who are making so much money, are financially independent, have house helps, have a very comfortable life, self-care will mean something different. It will mean going away on vacations once every year, right? It will mean having pedicures every week. If that's not your reality, accept it. Self-care should be customized. I'm a new mom. I have a baby. My husband is traveling all the time. His work is FIFO. Find what self-care is to you for that season. If self-care is your afternoon naps and that is all you get, be happy with it and make sure you are doing it. Whatever keeps you sane, whatever keeps you at peace in your season is self-care. If self-care for you is just watching a movie every Friday night, do it. It's your season. When the kids are older and they don't need you as much, you can have lunch with your friends. That's self-care. You can decide to lock your room. You can attempt to, or you are able to rather, lock your room and have a 3-hour nap, and the kids will knock on your door and say, "Mommy, I want snacks." Self-care should be tailored to you and your season. That's what I think. I think women fall into the trap of comparing what their friends are doing for self-care. My friends are going on a girl trip, but you know that financially you can't afford that right now. My friends are all about to buy wigs, for women. And that's why I'm saying self-care should be very customized, right? For women, having so many designer bags and shoes is self-care. Having so many wigs is self-care. Going on vacays is self-care. Massages every month is self-care. It's important to be contentment. The Bible says is great gain, right? It's important to be content in your season. Know what works for you and be happy with it. But yes, self-care is a very important factor.
The concept of happiness. Concept of happiness. Is there any such thing as being happy?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the state of happiness? And when is one considered to be in a state of happiness?
And this is also something I feel like is customized. Like what happiness might mean to me might not be the same for someone else. I find happiness is very temporary. It's a sudden surge of excitement. Something happens right now and like, yay, woo, you laugh and you're merry, But I like joy. Joy is different from happiness. Joy is a state of mind, right? That no matter what my experience is, I have joy. Like understanding that no experience is permanent. Things are constantly changing. You might get a credit alert and you are happy, like, oh wow, my uncle gave me money. There's that immediate emotion, thank you, where there's happiness, right? Or something happens, your home loan is approved, you are happy. But I think that the safer place to be is to have joy. And joy comes from contentment. Joy comes from understanding that experiences are constantly changing. And even as they are constantly changing, I would be at peace with it. I would live my life the way I have been living, despite the changes, despite the fluctuations. Joy is just a more permanent. It's permanent, right? It never goes away. That nothing would phase you so much that you are, flabbergasted. Or you know how the story of the storm, where the disciples of Christ experienced a storm and they were all over the place. I'm like, hey, Jesus, do you not care that we're about to perish? He was sleeping. That can only come from a place of constant assurance that God is with me. That's what joy is. Constant assurance that through every season, I'm at peace. So the storm, the changes in my life, my account balance, I don't have so many clothes, my kids deserve more. There's a constant assurance that God is in this journey with me. That's the safest place to be, and that's what joy is.
How do you manage burnout? Now, we've seen burnout in different shapes.
Bro, I've seen burnout. I have experienced burnout.
What is burnout in the first place, and how have you managed?
When you have reached your bandwidth, when you just know that, I don't try. I'm tired. I'm stretched thin. I don't know how I would manage tomorrow. That's what burnout is. When you are trying so hard to experience a breakthrough and it's not just happening, you feel like you are knocking this door and nothing is breaking it open. Work can cause a burnout. Being a mom can cause a burnout. Being a business owner can cause you to experience burnouts. Like you're not experiencing the speed or the progress that you would like. I feel like the highlight of burnout for me was in 2020, the COVID year. And I feel like to date, nobody really gets how burnt out I was. And to a great extent, I'm able to really mask my experiences very well. And only those who are close to me would hear me complain. If you are my person, I will bore you with my complaints. But in 2020, I had this massive breakout that was hormonal. And it was just, I feel like it was what was happening on my inside starting to reveal outside. I had big pimples and I thought it was just a skin issue, but I think it was more, I was burnt out. And it was because at the time I didn't have my spouse present because obviously COVID happened. So for almost 2 years, about 18 months, he wasn't there. So it was just me, my kids, and then my sister-in-law who were just navigating life together. And then there was just so much happening back to back that I thought I was done, So there were thoughts of, should I go back to Nigeria? Life was hard, bro. And I don't think, life was really hard. I was going through so much. But I think that experience that year, it made me stronger. And it made me believe that people say that what will not, how do they say that thing? What will not kill you? If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. I thought I was going to die. But it truly made me stronger, to be honest. Because in that year, I enrolled in a Bible school that sort of just shaped my orientation. And I feel like if I wasn't in that season of stress and burnout, I wouldn't have done some things. That was the year I birthed Complete Woman, FYI. I was going through a really dark season, but then interestingly and just so beautiful how God's workings can be, in that dark season, something that was so much light was birthed. If I was comfortable, everything was working, I would not have enrolled in Bible school. I would not have done Complete Woman. It was in 2020 we had our Bible study that so many women joined. Canada, UK joined our Bible study, and that just, God is mysterious, right? His ways are not our ways. So to track back to your question, in the seasons of being burnt out, do your best not to grumble and complain and whinge over what is happening. But if you have a walk with God, it should be the approach of, what is in this for me? Why is this happening to me right now? And how can I use this experience to grow? And how would this experience glorify God? So many questions you should ask in your season of burnout. If it's a job, for example, God, so is this a time to branch out and start my business? Is it a time to branch out and be a stay-at-home mom for my children? Is it a time to branch out and be there for my husband whose career is blossoming? So many questions. It's easy to just grumble and complain and say, why is this happening? But for somebody who is attaining maturity in life, ask the right questions in your seasons of burnout.
Said a lot, actually.
I know. I hope it wasn't too much.
A question I then have from there. So I'm just trying to take notes, and then, come back to those you've just given out. From your experience, or from what you just shared, what I could pick up from there is when you're experiencing a burnout, that necessarily might not mean the sign, a quitting sign.
Absolutely not. Yes.
It probably is, okay, now we've gotten here. Where next?
Yes. That should be the perspective on burnout.
And not,
yes.
okay, no, I'm done. I close and I go.
Caveats, Emmanuel, caveats. Burnout might mean taking a break. And taking a break is not the same as quitting.
Yeah.
It can be going back to recharge, recalibrate, and coming back stronger. So people should not make burnout a season to quit. Take a break is important, but plan to come back stronger.
Now, you talked about how burnout led you to, of course, the Bible school, studying complete women. How did you manage the burnout itself?
I'm not trying to sound spiritual, but I prayed. I prayed my way out. It's not me forming anything. It's just me being me. I prayed. I cried. I travailed. The Bible says, can a nation be born in a day? Like, sometimes you have to cook yourself in a place of prayer. And if I would branch out, for me, what worked was praying. I prayed till I could feel a release in my heart saying, I'm with you on this journey. I would pray through the nights, crying, rolling, like it was a secret experience. It was just me and God. Like, God, are you with me or have you left me? So there was no other outlet except God. That's it. For someone else, he might be talking to people. And that's why, again, let's not trivialize having good relationships. If you have who your core friends are, or your family that you trust with everything, talk to people and express. People can experience burnouts that lead to depression, and it ends up being something really serious. So having a strong community is key when experiencing a burnout. Having a walk with God is key in those seasons, as well as being able to talk to the right people. So have a strong community is also very key. For me, it was completely all on God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pandora cakes.
So much to talk about, Emmanuel.
I have quite a few things I haven't covered, but I'll just go.
I love it. I'm having a great time, and I feel like I have so much to share. I can go on and on.
I know you can keep going.
Yeah, I can go on and on. My life is a lot of experiences, yes.
Pandora cakes.
Where do you want me to start
Where
from?
are we on that?
Where are we on that? Okay, I thought you would start with how. How did we... How, but
Get there.
we can get to that.
We'll get there. No, we'll get there. I have everything covered.
Okay, where are we? Oh my God. Panadera cakes is just I don't know. I love what I do in Panadera cakes.
Is it Pandera or Panadera?
It's Panadera.
Sorry.
It's Spanish for Lady Baker, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy with where I'm at, to be honest, even though I know that there's opportunity for so much more growth. And where I'm at now is a testament of being diligent. My customer base and, the clients I have right now is not as a result of me being out there enough. I haven't put in so much effort into publicity. It's all referrals. So I think 85% of my baking is as a result of people saying, oh, she bakes good. Try her out. That has helped me so much. So be diligent at whatever you do is my experience with Panadera cakes. I think I love being a baker that bakes from home. So a home bakery is what I really enjoy. Just being able to give so much attention to every single baked good The commercial space just does things in bulk and just dishes them out. But being able to have my current style of baking is one I appreciate so much, because I give so much attention into every single cake I decorate or anything that I do. It's a great passion. I do love baking, and I intend to keep doing it for the longest time. Yeah.
Baking is quite an interesting space. Now, I've got a friend, I've got Artie. Artie does cookies. And I've been to her kitchen. It is, for me, more of an art than a business. So an art in the sense that it is a creative process for her. And so she knows, as in she explains to you, this has to go this way. And I saw her in my head, I'm thinking, how do one develop this much passion for doing this and gaining fulfillment from it? You understand? I see that as a deeper level to business than just the act of baking cake. Now, for yourself, you've just, mentioned something, in relation to that. It's you're passionate about what you do, and so you go in depth into into crafting that stuff. But then I was then thinking in my head, isn't that a problem on its own?
It's not.
So while I'm looking at it from a business standpoint now. So while it is an art, I kind of define what I want my clients to see, like handmade, Isn't that itself in itself a limitation to growth?
It's not. And again, it depends on what growth is to you, right? Yeah. For me, and I guess it's the same thing for your friend, baking cakes or anything that I bake, I want it to be an experience for the end user, my customers. It's beyond just having a birthday cake for me. Like, it's an experience. I want you to think twice before you cut into the cake. So it means that a lot of love and effort needs to go into it, which is why sometimes I turn down orders when I know that I don't have the capacity to do it, right? Yes, I guess you're thinking about growing to having other branches and having, like, just being a big business.
Scaling the business to
exactly.
a point
So
where you can say,
if it would get to that point, it's also transferring that passion to your staff, transferring that desire to make your baking an experience to those that you train as you expand your business. So I'm at the point where I'm still mastering that skill in a way that when it's time, I can transfer that same passion and that same creativity to those who will make cakes for me when I have to upskill. To a large extent, I know that there's businesses in Nigeria. One comes to mind. I don't think it's appropriate to mention names, but at the time I was in Nigeria, she was also just growing. But I've been here 8 years now, and I've seen how much her business has grown. And for every cake she still serves her customers, you would see her name on each cake, and it's not her decorating the cakes. She has been able to almost indoctrinate her staff to see the cake experience the way she sees it, which is doable, but it will come with a lot of time, a lot of intentionality into this is a brand name. It's not just a business. So to preserve that brand identity, you have to be able to accurately attune your staff to see the products from the lens with which you, the creative director, sees it. But it's very doable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I often ask myself, what is this thing with cake that people so love it, yet I'll go back. What is this thing about cake that it's so loved, yet it's, to some level, of course, health. You know what I'm talking about.
Just say what you want to say.
The sugary part of it, and all of the health concerns around, sugar and some of the stuff it's made of.
So that's
what is it? Is there a healthy cake?
Cake is cake, bro. Okay. And the summary of it is it's an experience. So for every occasion where you have a cake, it's that, it's like the what's the word? It's the grand,
It's the center of
the
events.
center of the event. You know, you place it on a very beautiful stand. People admire it, but at the end of the day, they cut into it, bash it, slice it. It's the highlight of most events. You cannot think of a birthday celebration without thinking of a cake. And whoever invented the idea of having cakes is a genius, because somehow it's impossible to think of celebrations without a cake. Almost every event is deserving of a cake. So whether there's an healthy cake or a non-healthy cake, every cake will still have a sweetener. Whether you say, oh, I don't do sugar, change the sugar and make it honey, it's still got to be sweet, and it will still have flour. So now we have gluten, flour, and all those manner of things. But a cake is still a cake, and when you have too much of it, there's still the health consideration there. But it's almost, in fact, it's impossible to separate cakes from major celebrations, and I just love that for cakes itself.
So this is me, all right. I stop and say like sugar, nah. You understand? And I would love to have cakes. I used to. My sister used to bake, and you can imagine I've had
You've shared that with me before.
I've had my fair share of eating cake and things like that. Is there a better way of baking?
As opposed to
sweetness and sugars. Are there healthy options?
Yeah, there are healthier options. You have the fruit cakes these days, carrot cake and banana cake, that just infuses the healthy options in there. There's reduced sugar. You can replace sugar with other things. There's a wide range of options when you are trying to err on the side of being healthy. Definitely a lot of options. But my kind of cakes are the indulge kind of cakes. So I get you to indulge. Yeah, but there are definitely healthier options.
What's the future for Pandora cakes? Pandora, I keep calling Pandora.
Yeah, that's okay. The future, I would have a space of my own, most likely in my own home, but a bigger space to bake more for my customers. But it will always be a very customized experience for every consumer. Yeah, that's what I see. That's what I want.
How far away are you from that?
Very close. One thing I find, again, bringing me back to God, He has the blueprint for our lives, right? And I find that if it's something He has designed for you to do in your life, as you walk with Him, you'll get it done. Quick story. I began baking at my first year in uni, and then I was baking with a stove. So if you're Nigerian, you know the green stove that had fire. I had that stove, and I had a really big pot, and I would put sand in the pots. And I had these very tiny cake tins that I would bake and sell cakes for 50 naira in my area there. So all the malams in my area would come on Saturday to my father's house and buy cakes and take it to their shops and malams in Nigeria now, and they will all resell the cakes. I did that for like 4 months during one ASU strike. And then one malam happened to see sand in his cake. And he called me and said, I will not buy your cake again. I see sand in the cake. And he was so angry. And I cried and I crowed. And I said, I will never bake again. That was so embarrassing. But I'm here again. How many decades after, still baking? So it's just a part of my life that I don't think would ever go away. If at some point in my old age I choose not to do it commercially, I would always bake for my grandchildren and nieces and nephews and things like that. So it's a part of me that God has put in there.
How long have you been baking for now? Years?
I began in my very early, as a teenager, probably 16, 17. So going very close to 3 decades of my life now. Sorry, what did I just say?
Yeah.
No, sorry, more like
22 plus decade?
Yeah, thereabout actually. Yeah, actually. Baking for it, but I would say as a business owner, about 12 years. I began commercially 2 years before I got married. Yeah.
How has that experience been, baking commercially as a business? I know you started this in Nigeria before you came to Australia.
It was growing. It was doing really well. So it was a struggle to leave all of that when I was relocating. I didn't have a shop or anything. I used my house. I think I actually really prefer baking from the confines of my home because it allows me be very into what I'm doing. It was growing quite well. I was at the point of buying commercial bakeries, ovens and things like that. I had students who would come and train for a period of time. I was even dishing out certificates and they would pay me. It was growing, you know. I was at the point where I was also considering breaking out of my house into getting a shop when Australia happened. So, yeah, I had a good experience baking in Nigeria.
Abisola, it's been an honor having you. I have quite a few things, but I'm looking at the time.
Yeah.
We might not have all the time. I'll probably have to arrange another time for you
Absolutely.
to get here.
Yeah, I've
it would be lovely
enjoyed
to have you again. You have an opportunity to ask me a question? Any question?
Yeah, I think I have one for you. So what is your motivation? I see you as someone who has a very admirable can-do spirit. So do you ever question, should I be doing this? What is your motivation? That's my question.
I believe I am born to do many things. I have a list of the things I wish, I want, I hope to do in this my lifetime. And there's this I've always said to myself, I'd rather try and fail.
I love it.
As against trying. And so I want to die without any regrets.
You and I both. I love that.
And so whatever it is I want to do, I look for the easiest way to get it done or to get it started. Perhaps it would work. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work. I've done it, and then we'll move on to another thing.
Yes.
So most of the things you've seen me do, I've done quite a few things. I'm part of a few businesses. Those are, for me, some of the things I really wanted to do. And I get it started. It's working. I hand over to those I want, and then I go chase other things I want to do. And hopefully, by the time I get old and maybe die, I will die without any regrets. So
I love
those are really my motivation. So essentially, I believe I can do a whole lot more through Christ that strengthens me. And so me going out to go do all of those things, ticking those boxes. And hopefully, of course, I can't finish ticking all the boxes, but the much I can tick, I take it.
I love it.
And we move. That's really my motivation. I believe God has created me for greatness, to do a whole lot more.
Exploits.
Yeah. To do a whole lot more than I'm doing. And interestingly, the brain is wired to do or to process massive amounts of data. And like we've all seen, we've all heard rather, we'll probably use 10%, just about, or a little under 10% of our brain capacity. So my goal is to use it up, get a lot more done, get a lot more going. And
I think you're doing very well. And I share the exact same perspective on life, like die empty. There's no point holding back. You will never know how well you will do until you actually try. So
a lot of people die in regret, they get old and then realize time has caught up with them. They can't do it. This thing that happened, it's just when I realized that some of this was during my service year, right? So there's this training or your series of training and certifications your mates are doing about the time if you served. At the time it was CCNA, my time it was HSC, the stuff you did. And of course the argument for a lot of people, would I work with this, would I do this, that it will cost you money. Whether I use it or not, it doesn't matter. So my own take at the time was, I'll go get it done. I'll keep it. If I use it, fine. If I don't use it,
there's no lost knowledge.
And of course you're always going to learn something doing that anyway. So why not give it a go? So that's really it for me.
You're doing well.
Thank you.
Impressive.
Thank you. Next of it will be, there's a question here by Yande. She was the last person that was here.
Oh, okay.
Rep culture.
Oh, yes, I know her. Great. Yeah.
She put this question obviously together without knowing who she's asking this question.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
How old am I now, Sefu? Kai.
On the camera?
Yeah, why not? I'm going to be 40 in 5 years. Where would I be in 5 years? I see myself living out God's purpose for my life. I think I said earlier that I have a clear vision of the things I'm going to be doing. So I see myself being able to teach God's word in a more convinced way. I was born to teach. I'm a teacher. So I will be doing that a lot, whether I'm inspiring or motivating or preaching. I see myself doing that on a larger scale in 5 years. I see Complete Woman being a very strong force globally by the grace of God, whether it's virtually or physically. That's something I know is a big part of my life. I see myself raising very wholesome children, independent leaders. My children are born leaders, and by the help of God, in 5 years, I would have seen how much of an impact I've been able to make in their lives. Summarily, I see myself living out God's purpose for me.
Funny you said that. 40. I'll be 40 in 3 years.
Ooh.
And funny story, when I was going to turn 37, I woke up this morning. No, it was, when I was going to turn 37, 36.
Yeah, my big brother.
Don't make me feel old. Excuse me. When I was going to turn 36, I woke up this morning, very morning. And for whatever reason, I thought I was turning 37. It was April.
Oh, wow.
And honestly, this fear gripped me. For whatever reason, I didn't know where that came from. And the question I started asking myself, kind of going through life, am I 37 or 36? Am I going to be 37? I had to call my wife. 1987. Is it 36 or 37? And she now said it's 36. I said, okay, 36. I kind of relaxed a bit. But then I started questioning myself, why did I react that way?
Wait, sorry, did you say you're turning 40 in 3 years or in 3 days?
3 years, not 3 days.
Oh, you scared? I thought it was, okay.
No.
Okay.
Oh, it's 3 years, not 3 days.
Oh, yeah, I guess it. Okay.
I'm still far away. Please.
Yeah.
So then I started then asking, why was I afraid of
that
getting
says a
old?
lot.
You understand? But then realizing I was going to be 36, then I relaxed a bit. But then after a while, I come to realize I've set myself some goals, which in my head, I'm probably thinking I'm not anywhere near those. And that generated that fear.
I feel you.
You understand? I say to myself a whole lot, I want to be a millionaire by 40. I'm not millionaire in a casual sense. For me, what that means is pure financial freedom. So in every sense. And just like the way somebody defined it in one of the podcasts, Steve Bartlett's podcast, it's not having $1 million you can spend. It's having $1 million you don't need. And so not $1 million, like millions, so being a million is over $1 million, you don't need. Not the one you can spend. Because oftentimes, when people say they want to become a millionaire, they're actually talking about $1 million they can spend. Also, it's not just about the $1 million I don't need. It's about how the organizations measure growth. Oftentimes, it's how many customers you have, how much you have in your bank accounts,
and return on your
investment. So essentially, you're measuring growth by how much of this investment you have. And so, saying I needed $1 million, I wanted to be a millionaire at that point, is not just that. It's more so about how much return, how much growth I have achieved over this period of time. You understand? And I get that was in my thinking what got me scared. Like, am I even close to this? And also, going back to the question you asked me earlier, what motivates me? That was one of it.
That makes sense. It does. All I can say is we just need to keep walking with God, right? I feel like He orders our steps.
Absiola, any final words?
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this, and I hope that it grows and gets to a larger platform.
Thank you.
And is beneficial experiences for people to learn from.
Thank you.
So well done on doing this. Well done on doing it afraid. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.